Welcome back everyone. Before we dive in, make sure you drop your thoughts and the lessons you took from this story in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Let's get into it. Marcus always had a presence about him. Something steady and magnetic that settled quietly into any room he entered. He wasn't loud or showy, just confident in that southern way that was both old and new. His hands were always warm, his words always calm. His laugh so smooth it made people turn around just to catch it. We met in Richmond at a mixer for black professionals in the city's arts district. I had just moved to Virginia, still getting my bearings, wearing shoes that pinched and trying not to look out of place. Marcus found me by the food table, sipping sweet tea and eating shrimp and grits samples. He leaned in quietly, cracking a joke about how the DJ was playing a song that sounded like a washing machine, and just like that I laughed, relaxed, let myself be seen. He wore a navy blazer, old leather shoes with just a bit of shine, and his watch was the only expensive thing about him. We talked for an hour that night, the world shrinking down to the space between us. He asked questions, he really listened, and at the end of the night, he handed me a business card that had his number scribbled on the back in his own neat handwriting. The first date was at a small cafe where the owner serenaded us from behind the counter. Marcus showed up with a single daisy. He said they were more cheerful than roses, and he told me stories about his grandmother, about growing up in Alabama, about how he always wanted to see the world. He had a way of making you feel like you were the only person that mattered. For months we built something real. Sunday brunches, blues in the park, long drives through country roads, talking late into the night about everything and nothing. Marcus cooked for me on Saturdays, played old R&B records, danced with me in the living room. He was kind, never rushed, and never let a day end with an argument. 8 months in, he met my family. My mother liked him instantly, said he was the sort of man who made a woman feel cherished. My sisters pulled me aside and whispered that he looked at me like I was precious. Marcus just smiled and made himself useful, moving chairs, filling glasses, blending in. When he proposed, it was just us and a long stretch of walking trail above a golden valley. He knelt down, a little out of breath, and held out a simple ring. No grand speech, just, "I want to build my future with you." I said yes before I even looked at the ring. We married the next fall in a small church on the edge of Richmond. Gospel choir, barbecue and mac and cheese, dancing barefoot in the grass with my grandmother. Marcus's grandmother, Big Mama Pearl, hugged me long and tight, whispered, "Welcome to the family, sugar." Felt like the start of forever. Our first house was a cottage in Durham. Small but ours. We painted the walls together, argued over furniture placement, filled every corner with music and warmth. He worked in supply chain management. I coordinated programs for a youth mentorship organization. We built a little routine: work, dinner, church, time with friends, holiday trips, small adventures. For the first few years, everything felt right. Even the small arguments faded fast. I used to say we were just two regular folks making a life, but Marcus always said, "Simple is good, simple lasts." The 7th year crept up on us like morning fog. Marcus's job got more demanding, and busy became his favorite word. Early mornings, late nights, business trips that bled over into weekends. Dinners missed, date nights rescheduled. I kept telling myself it was normal. After all, work was good for him, and he always said he was doing it for us. He never lied, not really. No secret phone calls, no passwords changed, no fights or raised voices. Marcus just moved farther away step by step. Every time he stayed late at the office or left for a trip on a Wednesday instead of Friday, I tried to hold on. Every Thursday night I made his favorite dinner: honey glazed salmon, sweet potato casserole, fresh cornbread. I set the table, lit candles, even put on Jill Scott. Sometimes I sat at the table till midnight, eyes closing, heart heavy. At 1 a.m. his text would buzz: "Don't wait up, long day." Some nights he didn't come home until morning, kissing my forehead before I woke up and slipping into the shower before another day began. I missed the old Marcus, the man who would rush home just to see me, who danced with me in the kitchen. But he wasn't cruel, just absent, caught up in a world I wasn't allowed into. I told myself not to complain. I told myself marriage has seasons. I still loved him, that was the truth. I wanted to fight for what we'd built, even as the walls between us thickened with silence. So when Marcus came home on a cold February night and said, "Let's take a trip. Just us, no phones, no work, just time together," my heart soared. He told me he'd already booked a boutique inn in Savannah, Georgia, and started making a list of restaurants he wanted to try. I hugged him so tight I thought he might break. I needed this. I needed us to find our way back. The week before the trip, I shopped for a new dress. A yellow and green wrap dress that made me feel beautiful. I sprayed on the sweet magnolia perfume Marcus liked, packed my bag with care, thinking maybe this was our second chance. We drove down the coast together, windows down, laughing at old songs, Marcus holding my hand at every red light. Savannah was magical that week. We walked the Spanish moss-lined streets, ate pralines on the square, bought a sweetgrass basket from a gullah vendor. Marcus even teased me about buying too many postcards for my mother. Our inn was small and beautiful, run by a black couple who knew the city's every secret. Each morning started with café au lait and beignets. At night we walked along the river, shoulders pressed close, pretending the world was just us. I let myself believe. Marcus smiled more that week than he had in a year. He bought me little things, a bracelet from the market, caramel candy wrapped in wax paper, a scarf when it turned chilly. We even took a silly trolley tour, sitting hip to hip, laughing at the corny jokes. One night Marcus said he wanted real low-country food, so we walked to Sister May's, a tiny soul food spot near Bull Street. The place was loud, the smells so good they made my mouth water. Our waitress was a young black woman with natural hair pulled back in a colorful head wrap. She looked at Marcus for a beat too long, then looked at me with something sad and knowing in her eyes. Dinner was perfect. Fried catfish, shrimp and grits, collard greens. Marcus told funny stories from work, held my hand across the table, kissed my knuckles. When he went to the restroom, the waitress cleared our plates and paused, slipping a folded napkin under my water glass. She didn't say a word, just turned away. I figured it was a bill or a note about dessert, but we paid at the counter and I tucked the napkin in my purse without thinking. Back in our room, Marcus took a long shower. I lay on the bed feeling happy for the first time in months. I reached into my purse for lip balm and felt the napkin. I opened it expecting nothing. Instead, in hurried, slanted handwriting, "I'm sorry, sister, I thought you were the other one. You deserve the truth. Look up Candace plus Marcus Memphis." The room spun a little. My ears rang. I looked at the door, half expecting Marcus to walk out and tell me it was a joke. I read the note 3 more times just to be sure I hadn't imagined it. I waited until Marcus was asleep, his arm thrown over his eyes, his body loose and warm beside me. I took out my phone and typed the words from the napkin into Instagram. My hand shook so hard I almost dropped it. Candace Williams, Memphis. Her profile was full of light and color art galleries, dinners, hiking trips, and Marcus. Again and again. Arm around her, head pressed to her shoulder. Him in her kitchen chopping vegetables. Him grinning in her car. Same small scar above his left eyebrow. Same gold watch I bought him last Valentine's Day. Christmas morning. Candace and Marcus in matching pajamas, smiling under a huge tree. Her caption. 5 years strong with my king. We don't play about each other. #BlackLove. There were family photos, barbecues, trips to the lake. There was nothing secret or hidden about them. Candace tagged him in everything. I stared at the phone feeling like I was falling. I remembered every night I'd waited up, every time he'd said he was working late, every "don't wait up." I remembered how tired he looked some days, how distant he seemed. I thought it was just life wearing us down. I never thought it was a second life running right alongside mine. I didn't sleep at all. I lay on the bed listening to Marcus breathe, watching the numbers on the clock change. At dawn I got up and made coffee, trying to keep my hands from shaking. When Marcus finally stirred, I sat on the edge of the bed holding my phone. "Who is Candace?" He squinted at me, sleepy and unbothered. "What? Candace? Candace Williams, Memphis. Want to tell me how long you've had two lives?" He straightened up, his whole body going tense. "I don't know what you're talking about." I opened Candace's Instagram and pressed play on a video. Marcus and Candace cooking together, laughing, her kissing his cheek. I held the phone up so he couldn't look away. His face emptied. His mouth opened but nothing came out. He didn't apologize. Didn't explain. He just went cold and silent. I got up, packed my suitcase in the quiet. Marcus sat on the edge of the bed, head in his hands. I put on my shoes, grabbed my purse and left. I walked until I found a bench near the water, shaking so hard my teeth rattled. I called a rideshare to the airport, bought a one-way ticket home, and spent the flight staring at clouds. Back in Durham, my hands were steady again. I moved like a machine, unpacked, showered, changed the sheets. Then I opened my laptop and searched for Candace Williams's work email. She was easy to find, program director for a Memphis community center. I wrote, "This isn't spam. I'm Marcus's wife. We need to talk." She called that night. Her voice was tired, wary. "What is this? I know about you and Marcus. I was with him this weekend. I'm not here to fight. I just need the truth." There was silence. Then, in a voice even softer, "Send me proof." I sent photos of our wedding, our vacation, the video from the beach 2 days before. She texted back, "Where can we meet?" 2 weeks later I drove to Memphis and met Candace in a quiet park under a line of old oak trees. She was shorter than I expected, beautiful and well put together, but her eyes looked tired too. We sat together, barely speaking at first, until she said, "How long?" I told her everything. 7 years, a home, all the ordinary days. Candace told me 5 years, her own apartment, the same holidays, the same missed birthdays. Every time he was on the road for a new project, he was with the other woman. She showed me texts, photos, plane tickets. We compared anniversaries, gifts, holidays. He bought her the same watch I'd given him. He'd spent Thanksgiving with her 1 year. Drove to me by dinner. There was no yelling, no drama. Just 2 women side by side, working through the scraps of a man's double life. We laughed a little, cried some, shook our heads at the small details. A missing shirt, a familiar cologne, a joke he'd told us both. We walked the park for hours. Sometimes we stopped to watch the ducks. Sometimes we just sat in silence. By the end, we both knew what we needed to do. "I'm divorcing him," I said. Candace nodded. "Fame. I'm not waiting for an apology. I just want my life back." Back home I called a lawyer. I packed up Marcus's things, left them on the porch and changed the locks. The house was quieter now, but it was a cleaner quiet. Candace and I kept in touch. Not friends, but allies in a strange, painful war we never asked for. Sometimes we texted late at night, little updates, pictures of meals we cooked for ourselves. We never talked about Marcus. We didn't need to. Word spread through our circle. My family was shocked. Marcus tried to call, but I never answered. He sent one long email full of apologies but no explanations. I didn't read past the first line. The divorce took 4 months. Papers signed, assets split, life divided into before and after. I bought a new apartment across town, small but bright, with a view of the city. I started going out more, spending time with friends, letting myself breathe. The day the divorce was finalized, Candace sent me a photo. 2 glasses of wine clinking together. "To freedom," she wrote. I laughed for the first time in weeks. Marcus's grandmother, Big Mama Pearl, called me. She sounded older, sadder. She came to help me move, hugged me tight, told me, "You did nothing wrong, baby. You loved him right." 2 weeks later I heard from a friend that she'd stopped talking to Marcus. That was all. Then, life moved forward. No more waiting at the table. No more lighting candles for someone who wouldn't come home. Some nights I still played Mary J. Blige, still danced in the kitchen, but the music was for me this time. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment and share this video with your friends. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a powerful story.